Hello everyone and welcome. This is Lisa. Thanks for joining me today. I apologize in advance, I'm a little stuffy. We're going to be using Fabulous Flamingo and Playful Backgrounds. We're going to be doing some heat embossing on Vellum today. And I saw these two stamp sets in the catalog together and I thought, wow, what a great pair. So I bought them both at the same time and this is what I came up with. So I'm using the Stamparatus today because this makes layered stamping super easy. I'm going to use the base of the bird, the main part of the bird, and then the detailed part of the bird last. So I'm beginning here. Stamparatus is super easy to use because it has these doors that fold and move, and you can position all of your stamps on there at one time. So I'm inking this up with powder pink ink. Again, this is just the flat part of the base. Most of the time it doesn't matter which order you go in, it's just whatever you're comfortable with. I'm just showing you how I did it. Okay, so now I've pulled that out and flipped it over, and now I'm going to be inking up the base of the body, or not the base, the main body part of the bird. And of course I'm using Flirty Flamingo. So I'm pressing that down, and see, this is what is so wonderful about the Stamparatus. It's perfect placement every time. Okay, so now for the detailed part of the bird, I'm bringing in Blushing Bride, and we're going to ink and stamp this one 3 times. And the reason for that is I want to distinguish really well the bird's feathers. And since Blushing Bride is such a light colored ink, it took 3 times for that to work. So there we go, 3 times, and now you can see the feathers really well on the bird. Okay, so we have this, and I left this part in. You do not need to do this. You do not need to fussy cut this bird. I don't know what I was thinking, but I did leave this in because I just wanted to show you that when you cut, to turn your paper, not your scissors. So that's just a little helpful tip there for you. Okay, so I have the bird all cut out, and I've used just this black micron pen to put on his beak, to color his beak, and I used this white gel pen to enhance the feathers a little bit and put the dot in the center of his black eye. Okay, so now I'm coming in with some masking paper, and I'm using a 1 1/4 inch punch. I believe it's 1 1/4 inch anyway. And I'm just laying it down. I'm not even going to bother with pulling the backing off of the paper. I'm just sort of sliding it underneath my bird. So I'm going to use some So Saffron to sponge in the sun. I want to make the inside of the sun darker than the outside edges, so that's why I wanted to be sure I had lots of ink on my sponge so I had the most control. So there we go, we've got that part done. Now I'm using another piece of masking paper, and I am peeling the back off of this one. This is going to distinguish the difference between the sky and the water. So I'm coming in with Pool Party, and with a super light hand, I'm just gently putting down a light layer of this Pool Party because we're going to come in after we've placed the bird on there to finish up our water scene. So since I cut him out, I have to glue him on there. And so I'm just making sure I don't have any air bubbles. This is my quilt tip bottle that has Tombow multi-adhesive in it. It just helps me to get in tighter spaces. So now I have our vellum cardstock. All of the dimensions and measurements and instructions will be on my blog and in the PDF. I wanted to show you too that while that was drying, I put an acrylic block on it. So I've taken some typing paper and just covered the back side of the vellum card base, and I'm stamping with Pool Party all over the top. That's the great thing about our dye inks, is that even though they're dye inks, they stay wet long enough to use heat embossing. Okay, so now we're getting ready to heat emboss. You can see now that I had that card open, so we're just doing the front. So I'm bringing in my vellum piece and very carefully placing the clear embossing powder on the top. Embossing powder really likes to stick to vellum for some reason, so again, I can't stress enough for you to use the anti-static powder tool, our embossing buddy. So when you're heating vellum, you want to heat it a little bit and then pull your heat tool away. And before you start taking it the first time to the vellum, you want to be sure that you ran it for just a couple of seconds to make sure that the tool is good and hot. So you see me here bringing in the tool and pulling it away. That prevents the vellum from warping. Okay, so I have it all done now, and I'm going to fold it, and while it's still warm, I'm going to press it and make sure that it's good and flat. So it looks pretty good to me there, so I'm ready to go to assemble my card. So next I have layered my, actually I forgot about this part. We're going to finish the water scene first before we layer the card and put it on there. So I'm bringing the pool party back in, and I am sponging a little darker, and I'm also sponging over the top of his legs. Now I'm being super careful about this because I don't want to tear the legs because they're really tiny and fragile. This is where the having stamped hem part is a lot easier. So now I'm using some Coastal Cabana, and I am stamping that down. And then I'm just second generation stamping the back just so it looks like it's further off in the distance there. And then I'm going to come in with some Old Olive, and I'm going to put some grass in there. And I feel there on the right side that I don't have it dark enough at the bottom, so that's what I'm doing, just adding a little darker grass. Okay, so now I'm going to assemble that on a piece of pool party cardstock, and I have 3 other pieces of this same size. All the measurements again will be on my blog and in the PDF. So I'm stamping my sentiment, and because this is such a long piece of cardstock, I felt it needed something at the bottom. So I'm stamping some grass into the bottoms to sort of match the front of the card. Okay, now I'm going to take the piece that we have the sentiment on, and I'm going to set it aside because that's going to be the last piece. So this is the back side of the front card, and I'm putting this piece on, and we're doing this to cover up the adhesive so that you can't see the adhesive. So this is the very back of the cardstock. This is the back side, and because you can see through it, you can line that up good. And now we're going to lastly put our sentiment piece in on the inside where it goes. And our card is just about finished. And that's that. Isn't it cute? I really love it. So I'll show you here on a piece of white paper so that you can see what it looks like behind something white. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And please try this out for yourself. It's a lot of fun. So until next time, I hope you have a good day and happy crafting. Bye.